We're getting closer and closer to training camp opening up for the Chicago Bears, which means we're also getting closer to actual football, being on the football field in preseason. But on today's episode, I want to talk about a few narratives that both Bears fans and people outside the Bears need to stop with this team. We're talking a little bit about that, plus guys that are on this team that are going to absolutely show that they are big parts of the Chicago Bears' future going forward. We're going to talk about all that, plus more on today's Chicago Bears Central. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content. But before we get into content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got to go get into 30,000 subscribers on this channel. We can only do so with your guys' help. There's about 45% of you guys that watch the channel every single day that are not subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. In exchange for that, we'll be giving you the best daily Chicago Bears content around. And no, we're not on that chat sports stuff, so we're not giving you guys a lot of fluff and trying to make headlines out of nothing. With that said, let's talk about some of the biggest narratives around the Chicago Bears that just need to stop and just be 100%. They just need to die, right? Not to say that there aren't some concerns, but when people talk about these things as an absolute, that's where we need to stop some of this stuff at. And so we're going to jump right into that. You guys know, a little bit petty sometimes, so it is what it is there. But let's get into it. First, people that say that the Bears defense did not improve at all going into the 2026 season. That's just factually incorrect. And I get where it's rooted in. It's rooted in that one of the biggest things that Bears fans wanted to see this Bears team improve this summer was the pass rush. And because the Bears did not improve that pass rush, at least not heavily on paper, it's left a lot of people to think that the Bears defense is not improved at all. You pair that with the departures of Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Nashawn Wright, those guys going away from this team, and it's left now this conversation where people talk about the Bears defense as if it has not improved at all. And I'm here to tell you that that's not enough. It's just not factually correct. You look at bringing in Kobe Bryant and bringing in Dillon Thieneman right there. They are going to be able to replicate and even more so be stronger in some areas than what Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker were. I get it. Yes, it's on paper because we haven't seen it right now. And rookies can get picked on and not necessarily live up to the hype right away. And it can sometimes be an ebb and flow of a season. But the Bears pass coverage with that safety has improved. On top of that, Devin Bush is a better linebacker than what Tremaine Edmunds is. It's not just about the tackle total. When you look at Devin Bush, his functional speed, his ability in coverage, his ability to also stop the run, which is something that we need heavily with this team, is the people who have the ability to stop the run. Because, like I said a couple of episodes ago, one of the things I'm more concerned about than the pass rush is our ability to stop the run game. That's something that I'm hugely more concerned about. Like, not to say that I'm not also concerned about the pass rush, but if we can't be a team that can't stop the run, it's going to be, I think, more detrimental than us not being able to get sacks on the quarterback. We're going to be able to generate some pressure. But with that said, Devin Bush is also an upgrade. The bet on Austin Booker as a pass rusher, I understand that from the side of the front office, and I get it that it's with him being injured last year, not really getting to see a lot of it. For some Bears fans, it's not tangible enough for them to understand how the Bears defense improved, and also health, right? Like, and knock on wood, because I would never say never. Health and injury is one of those things that are outside of the control. But the Bears were so injured in the secondary last year. You're talking about a team that never had their projected starting three cornerbacks healthy at any point last season. They were never fully healthy at any point last season. And that is a big reason for this team to be able to improve too, because we know how important the cornerbacks are to Dennis Allen and his scheme. They are hugely important there. So I think those things paired, like, this defense is better than what it was last year. Now, how much better can it be? That's the question. But to act like this defense is not improved at all is just factually incorrect. And when you look at the football things, the football side of it, there's a lot of football reasons to look at this defense and say they can see a really nice improvement in next season. Again, injuries being one of those things, but that's something you bet on for every team, is you want to see that, right? But yeah, no, and nobody's saying the defense is perfect or that it's one of those things that's unflappable and people shouldn't bring up considerations, but just that specific narrative of the Bears defense didn't improve at all, that's a narrative that we not need to stop, and that's just a false and fake narrative. in regards to it. Next up, that Cole Kmet is getting traded. Here's the thing, right? And I know that this is difficult for some Bears fans because of what we've been through. And a lot of these things that we talk about this list, I talk about Bears fan PTSD, it's real, right? And I'm not saying that Cole Kmet is necessarily going to be here, outside of this next contract, that he'll sign a long contract extension. That part, I really don't know. That may come down to how Sam Roush develops. But as it stands right now, the fact of the matter is that Cole Kmet is playing a very important role in the season. And for a season where they want to explore using Colston Loveland a lot more, having Sam Roush and Cole Kmet there that are able to go into that 12-man personnel, whereas you line Colston Loveland up as a slot receiver sometimes. Again, the thing that Ben Johnson likes to operate from is mismatches. How can he manipulate the defense into finding mismatches and exploit those as the game goes on? The Bears have one of the strongest tight end rooms in football, if not the outright strongest. And so the Bears trying to get to that, take another step this year and get that. I don't see the Bears giving that up. Sam Roush would have to look so amazing in year one for them to trade that this season. Again, we have a different conversation next offseason. Once Sam Roush, we see what he can and can't do and how well that 12 and 13-man personnel works with those guys. But that's probably not going to happen, right? I get it. Like I said, these things aren't rooted where I'm saying that people are idiots for saying this or anything like that. I just think that sometimes we as a fan base have the propensity to jump the gun on something rather than let's operate from a place of strength and abundance in a talent room. And I know people are going to say, well, Haize, we can trade him and get a defensive end. And it's like, this team has already showed you that they didn't have an inability to acquire a defensive end. They had a risk tolerance that they did not want to pass up in acquiring that guy while they still want to evaluate Austin Booker. And then for the DeAndre Swift part of this, like, the Bears had one of the best two-headed rushing attacks in football last year. And much like I said with the Cole Kmet thing, they are not going to move off of that this season unless they have a clear upgrade, and that's probably not going to come until the offseason. Yes, DeAndre Swift's contract is coming up. I understand that, and it's a valid thing to ask what the future of him looks like on this team. But I think when you're talking about a team that's trying to continue to develop and try to continue to just progress as a franchise, giving up DeAndre Swift right now in a sense where you don't have to. There's nothing with the Bears. His contract isn't ridiculous, anything like that. Even if the Bears were to put him on the trade market, it's not like you're going to get a lot back for a running back of DeAndre Swift's caliber. Like, that's just not where you are right now, unless some team is ravaged with injuries. And at that point, like, it's not there. So and when you look at the bold trades as well that Brian Post tends to make, those tend to happen in the offseason, not during the regular season, right? Those happen in the offseason. And so usually if Brian Post makes an in-season trade, it's to acquire something that he feels the team is missing. It's not to send out a big piece on this team already. And so because of that, I think that Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift are both most likely safe. Now, I'll never say never, but are most likely safe heading into the season, and we'll see how that rolls. And then the last one, and this is more for people outside of the Chicago Bears fan base, but the fact that people try to act like Caleb Williams, like I've seen some dumbass things of people that say, oh, Caleb Williams is the most overrated quarterback in the league and all stuff. Like, come on, man. Nearly over almost 4,000 yards thrown for, 7 comeback victories and game-winning drives, which was an NFL record, gets a playoff win, and all that. I get it. The completion percentage. But, like, we got to stop the dumbass narratives. And this is the one that I always say every time it comes back to Caleb Williams and the doubt from outside the fan base with Caleb, I always say, all right, cool. When his team takes on your team, let's see how you feel about that. And that's really what I leave it at for Caleb, because Caleb is a guy that has continually proved his doubters wrong. And after last year of me absolutely cooking ECH Bears fan because of the dumbass shit that he tried to say about Caleb Williams not being a leader because he paints his nails, I'm done with the dumbass narratives, to be 100% honest with you. But I will say this, the narratives within the Bears community have really turned from narratives about Caleb Williams to legitimate, hey, let's see how you progress. These are the areas that we need to see him. And I love that. And that's where, as much as I call out some of the stuff that happens in the Bears community, I do want to give credit and credence to the fact that there have been so many people that I have seen that were outright Caleb haters around this time last year that the narrative is now changed to, all right, like, he's shown me something. So now, like, that, shore up these parts of his game. A lot of the more dumbass narratives about Caleb Williams are coming from outside sources, and that's cool. Like I said, keep doubting him. Let's see where it shakes out at the end, where our quarterback has wins and where yours is. And that's really it. So that's where I want to leave it at. A lot of narratives that need to stop with the Chicago Bears. I can go further into some of these as well, but let's wait and see how this is going to develop this season. And I feel like we're going to shut up a lot of people this year. That's what I really feel like. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Petty Roosevelt to show his head sometimes in regards to that. But with that said, I want to move on from some narratives that need to stop about the Chicago Bears to some players that this season and maybe already have firmly made themselves part of the Chicago Bears' long-term future that you can't even question. Number one, Luther Burden. And we're going to talk a little bit about Luther Burden here in a second, where ESPN has already named him as one of the top 5 wide receivers in the game of football, which is absolutely crazy to see from a guy that's played first year and didn't even play a lot his rookie year, right? Like Luther Burden and the top 5 talk around him. I guess let's go ahead and jump into it. It's not crazy. And that's the thing that makes it so important. It's not crazy that this guy in Luther Burden can really step up and be an absolute force for the Chicago Bears as it continues to go. And somebody of Luther Burden that's already shown what he's shown has been amazing to see, right? And I do want to get into this. I was going to make it its own topic, but I guess since we're talking about ESPN, let's go ahead. One of their analysts said this in regards to Luther Burden. Luther Burden's second season in Chicago sets up nicely for him to break out in a big way. Ben Johnson calling plays, Caleb Williams at the trigger, DJ Moore and Olamide Zaccheaus out the door, leaving 150 vacated targets from last year. Rome Odunze's altered bone structure in his foot being his new normal, all these factors form a tantalizing opportunity for Burden to burst out. He already showed on tape as a rookie that he's elite with the ball in his hands. His underlying efficiency metrics rank among some of the best all time as a rookie, which is crazy. He's reached the qualifying thresholds. He would have ranked third among all wide receivers in yards per route run at 2.92, behind only Puka and Jackson Smith-Njigba, other rookies to post a YPRR north of 2.5 in the last decade, including Nakua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, and Odell Beckham Jr. That is the bull ceiling case for Burden, a top 5 player at his position currently going as wide receiver 28 in ESPN drafts. Let's just talk about that projection for Luther Burden, right? I always like analytics things are always used. You can always find an analytic to pair with something to make any narrative that you want. I'm just going to say that you can find that, right? But I think when you put that the class that Luther Burden showed himself to be in, as well as like even taking all the analytics out, when you watch Luther Burden play football, it feels like you're seeing a top 5 wide. It feels like you're seeing somebody with the potential to be one of the best wide receivers in the game of football. The yards after the catch, the size, the way that he's able to pull in, catches in there, like all those type of stuff. The route running ability, all that's there. The makings of a great wide receiver are all there in Luther Burden. Now you can get into a bit of a dangerous territory when you want to put somebody in that after 1 year. So that's why, like, I'm not saying it as an absolute, but just watch the progression that we see Luther Burden make this season. Watch those steps that we see him make. And it may not end up with for some people, they'll be like, well, he's not that unless he gets a 1,300 yard receiving. I'm not even like the yards are a result of how good you are. They're not always the thing that you need to base how good you are, because it's situation that comes down to that. But Luther Burden, to get back into the original topic, all those things point to Luther Burden being somebody who is going to be part of the foundation of what we're building here with the Chicago Bears, especially in the offense, especially in a Ben Johnson called team as well. And that relationship between him and him and Caleb Williams is huge, and you can't overlook that either. So, having Luther Burden here at the top of this list as a guy that he's definitely part of the foundation of what we're building off of and how we're going to take this team far. Next up, Dillon Thieneman. I get it. He's a rookie, and of course it's easy to throw rookies in there, but I think when you look at somebody, right, and you look at pieces, the versatility that Dillon is going to bring to this team, we haven't seen in somebody at that safety position in a long time. Like I said, he has all the strengths of Jaquan Brisker, and really none of the weaknesses, plus some strengths that Jaquan Brisker did not have, right? I think when you look at the potential for Thieneman, it's through the roof in regards to what he can be long-term for the Chicago Bears. And having a guy like Dennis Allen, who's going to really call him all over the field, you're going to see some packages with Dillon Thieneman that you're going to be like, hey, where was Dillon lined up at? Did he line up at linebacker? Like, you're going to see some of that stuff, and the size, the tackling ability, everything that he does bring is going to be there. It may not be the interception total that Kevin Byard had, but I'm telling you right now, Dillon Thieneman is somebody, keep betting on. The stock is going to be high in Thieneman by the end of the season. Next up, Colston Loveland. He's one of the guys that we've talked so much about this offseason. You look at how impressive he was as a rookie, and having him and Luther Burden in the same rookie class, it's great. And despite a slow start to the season where he was not a part of the game in the first month and a half of the season, finishing with 713 yards, 6 touchdowns, leading the team both in that, with tying it for the touchdowns, and he became, slowly but surely over the course of the season, Caleb Williams' favorite target. And I think that says a lot when your tight end can be your favorite target. That quarterback tight end pairing with Ben Johnson's play calling and the play of the offensive line as well. It's so important for the Chicago Bears' future. And that's that 1-2-man game that I think is really going to work very well for the Chicago Bears as we continue to develop this team out. And then the next one, Kyle Monangai. 3 people in this rookie class. Like, when you look at Kyle Monangai, at minimum, he's going to be able to be part of a dual-headed running back room. He's the perfect complementary running back. And like I said on a video a few days, probably about a week ago at this point, do not count out Kyle Monangai to start showing some ability to be the running back one. 783 yards, 5 touchdowns in a rookie season after being selected in the 7th round and not being trusted early like most of the rookies were. Listen, DeAndre Swift has an uncertain future with the Bears, and that's just because his contract's up, and we know how running back contracts go when you get that next contract. And I think that Kyle Monangai, as this season progresses, is going to be able to continue to show. He's going to have so much opportunity to show his growth, show his development, show that he's on the right track. And that's something that really stands out, and that's special about Kyle Monangai. Kyle Monangai is a special talent. The inability for him to go down on the first contact, how he runs between the tackles, and even though he's not the most agile running back, he still has the ability to bounce the ball out and go to the outside. It's just, you cannot overlook that at all. So Kyle Monangai, definitely that. And then the last guy, the guy that everybody probably expected to be on this list, and that's Caleb Williams. Like, I almost said Caleb Wilson, shout out to the Bulls, but Caleb Williams. It's just, Caleb is the relationship between Ben Johnson and Caleb is huge to this team. Everybody knows it at this point. And like I said earlier, it's really good to see that so many Bears fans have changed their narrative from Caleb Williams, and the Bajent baddies and all that, to just being like, okay, this is our quarterback. Now let's see how he fixes some of these things in his game that he will admit to you that he needs to fix. Take the gimmies a little bit more. Of course, your wide receivers need to stop dropping the ball as much as well. Like, these are all things that go in the route of these for this. And Caleb Williams is not just on the path to being a great starting quarterback. He's hopefully going to be on the path to being a great all-time quarterback. And that's what you want to start seeing in years 3, years 4 from Caleb. The real thing is him making that next step to really be and show, hey, I have the talent to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback and MVP, and I'm going to lead this team and lead this franchise to exactly where we need to be. And those are things that stand out about Caleb Williams. And I love the way that he's handled it. I love the honesty that he plays with and all that type of stuff. And it would be very easy for Caleb Williams and anybody else to really kind of look at this team and some of the doubts around him and just get frustrated by it. But Caleb has continued to be a professional. He's focused on football. He's focused on getting this team wins. And that's what he said he wanted to do since he came into this league, is win football games. He wants to be judged by Super Bowls, and he wants to be great. So now let's see the Chicago Bears go out there and put in that work with him, and let's see where he's going to get to where he needs to get to. But all right, with that said, let's move into the last topic. One of the most important things for this team is the offensive line. I've talked about how the offensive line, losing Drew Dahlman and Ozzie Trapillo, Dahlman to retirement, Ozzie Trapillo to injury, is that this Bears team, like, it's not just, don't take it for granted that you're just going to come into this and the Bears offensive line is going to be the same that it was last year. But of course, we still have Dan Rouchar. We still have Darnell Wright. We still got Joe Tooney. We still got, all the guys there, Jonah Jackson. We still have those guys there, right? And it looks like guys like Darnell Wright, Theo Bennett, and Kieran Amagaje are working with Teron Armstead, the former offensive lineman, as well in the offseason. He's worked with Braxton Jones as well this offseason, also in a separate situation. And Ozzie Trapillo was also seen working in a video with him in his rehab also. This Bears offensive line is, I'm telling you right now, they are hungry. And the young players, now, I don't know if Kieran Amagaje is going to make the roster. I don't know what Theo Benedict's role is going to be. We know that Darnell Wright is great. We know what he is. He's shaping up for a contract extension. But I'll say about this is that these offensive linemen are putting in work. And this is a group that is so important to football. You look at the progression of the Chicago Bears running game last season, and that can be directly tied to the improved offensive line that we had as well, right? And so I think that especially when you look at Darnell Wright and him being the long-term anchor on this front line, that's huge. Guys like Theo Benedict, who still have a lot to prove, their development matters, and it's good that they are taking their development under their own arm when it comes down to that. And even seeing Ozzie Trapillo's, him progressing through his rehab is good. Now, there's still a huge chance he's going to miss maybe the entirety of the season, if not the majority of it. But it's good. Working with Teron Armstead shows that these guys are taking this offseason seriously. that they are looking to make that jump. The jump that we already made from 2024 to 2025, it shows how fast things can change on an offensive line when you have the right pieces, and I think when you have the right coaches. And so these guys going out here and putting in this work, that's what you want to see from your players. Is go out there, put in the work. Don't just wait on OTAs, training camp, your own coaches. What do you do in between those things? Everybody's expected to do those things. What do you do outside of that? That can help jumpstart your season. And it's good to see these guys all working together, these guys taking that next step, because again, another thing that matters on that offensive line too is the chemistry of that offensive line. And that's what it seems like the Chicago Bears are really working on as well. And let's see that continue for this team. But that's going to do it for today, man. I want to thank you for everybody that tuned in to Chicago Bears Central today. I want to hear from you guys. What's a narrative around the Chicago Bears that you want to hear stop this offseason? Let me know that down below in the comment section. Sound off on any of the topics down there as well. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live stream. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.